like say so when you write a script, okay, everybody thinks you can sit down and just write a script.
Yeah, everybody thinks that writing skills. Oh, everyone says this. I'm going to write the great American novel.
That's crazy.
Like it's something that's just going to happen.
No, that's crazy.
Like from the ages of 45 to 60, that it's just going to materialize. Not realizing writing is a skill you have to work at.
Writing is a skill you have to work at, and you gotta already have it, just like singing or anything else. That's a very narcissistic approach to writing, is to think that somebody can just write. You can't just write. You can't make your words live. You gotta basically breathe life into words. And when I read more people's writing, I want to just stop at one paragraph. So if you can make somebody, if you can get somebody to read something that you wrote, a total stranger, then you're a writer.
Well, see, but remember, you're gifted. Some people, sometimes I wonder, do our experiences make us better writers? Or, like you said, it's just an innate gift that is honed and developed over time. I do believe, though, that you have to study the masters.
I believe you're right. You do have to have a muse. My muse, I got really good at writing. When I sat down, I started. And I hate to say this because a lot of people do it, but this was who my muse was. It was Charles Bukowski.
No, you love the King of San Pedro.
I've read everything Charles Bukowski has ever written. Every short story I've written. I've read everything. I moved to San Pedro. He died at San Pedro.
Supported his whole literary career being a mailman, a postal carrier.
Incredible. Long Beach State really pays reverence to him. If you go to like Long Beach, the Long Beach State College, they because he used to go there and speak. But I mean, that's why I read everything he ever wrote. Then after that, he mentioned an author called John Fonte. So I would read everything John Fonte, After Dusk. Dusk. And with Colin Farrell, that movie that was made. So I read everything he ever did. Then after that, I said, you know what? These guys were alive during the time of Kerouac and Ginsberg and Burroughs. So I started reading everything they started writing.
The Beat generation.
The beats. Actually, Bukowski was a beat too. He's probably the most beat out of all of them. Because
of the alcoholism and predilections for excess, or
let me tell you why. Because the Beats were a pile of kids who wanted to be outcasts. So they forced themselves to be outcasts by taking drugs, by being crazy. Kerouac was a football player. Ginsberg, I don't really know that much about Ginsberg. Burroughs was a rich dude, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember his father someone in his family invented some kind of dental mechanism. Let me check that out real quick.
So these were people who had something who were trying to
heavy trust fund.
Yeah, so they're trying to scuff their new Nikes to make themselves look more down. Bukowski was already an outcast. He wasn't loved in his family. He was low middle class Californian. I think his father drank. I'm not too sure. And Bukowski, he actually went out and became a hobo to get that writing experience that you talk about. Because he was a great writer, at like the age 24. I think he won a contest or something. But then he went out on the road and get that experience. So I think you have to have a little bit. I think you have to have a little bit of both. Some people maybe have 70 this, like Stephen King. The way Stephen King writes. Stephen King doesn't live out there. He can't. He's not digging up pets.
He sure isn't. He had a very kind of, he even will say that his mother was just he and his mother growing up. And she was just incredible and really fostered his literary career.
And that's that imagination. That's imagination. And that's the tuning. That's the tooling. So some people have all the experience and they can't write. So that's the one thing. Everybody says they want to write a book. Okay, well, that's very hard. Okay, because even writing a book, the editing will kill you. And so I mean, it's a very narcissistic approach to things. But going back to the script writing process in itself, when you get your script and it gets by everybody, which is a feat in itself. If you get a script to a creative meeting, you it's like, man, it's almost like scoring a touchdown and getting caught at the 10-yard line. You see the people run for a touchdown. They almost get the touchdown. They start celebrating and tackle on the 20.
But isn't it almost like to make it in Hollywood, you have to have someone to vouch for you to get you in that door, right?
And they don't only have to vouch for you. Not only do they have to vouch for you, people listen to this. They have to fight for you. Because when you sit down with that creative meeting, that script you have to fight for it. Because everybody else has their ideas too. And everybody, you have, the table is political. Some people like you, some people hate you. Maybe he wasn't a favorite of the creative director or the producer. Maybe he didn't get Kevin Hart's ear, and he had a project, but they didn't listen to him. Maybe somebody else was blocking him. Maybe somebody else had something close. Maybe somebody. So it's political around the table. So when you take that script, you're gonna have to fight for it. So anybody who has to in the industry in California, not California, in the entertainment industry, somebody has to actually fight for you.
Wow.
They have to fight for you, not vouch for you. They have to actually fight. They actually have to. So how many people are willing to do that?
So you basically have to have someone in your corner who is a power player.
Yes. Or powerful.
Who has that cachet to greenlight your project.
Yes. Wow. Yes. And nobody can do it. Somebody with a little bit of power can't do it. Somebody's sidekick can't do it. Somebody's Robin can't do it. Batman has to greenlight his thing. Wow. That's the only one. So that's how it happens. Then, somebody has to be Catwoman. So Robin's not going to do it. Batman don't respect Robin. Somebody's second in command is second in command for a reason. Why not just make him a partner? If he's second in command, that means the commander made him second, or he's in the second position. He's in a low position. He's not because if you respect somebody, you make him your partner. You make him your equal.
So what do you think? For instance, someone coming from a small town, small, Nowheresville, they're coming here to LA. It seems like to get in the door, you have to know someone. So is it the best move to position yourself in a place where you know there's going to be a lot of celebrity traffic? No, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you. If you want to come to LA and you want to get in the industry, go to an Ivy League school. Go to an Ivy League school. Get in right now. If you're 15 to 16 years old, get your grades up. Go to Princeton, Columbia, Brown, seems like
Harvard.
Everybody who's made it. I think Angela Bassett. I know Denzel went to Fordham.
Yeah, and I thought that was Ivy, but it's not Ivy.
Okay, I keep thinking that was part of the Ivy League.
I thought it was too. I thought it really was, but it's close enough. I mean, and look, NYU, Columbia. I mean, so if you want, Ivy League, and you don't even have to be an actor.
Matt Damon.
We can go down the Ivy League rabbit hole, and we'll come up with a lot of names. And that these are people in the front of the scene. We're talking about people behind the scene.
But it seems like also, okay, let's say you don't go that route. Mm-hmm. What about plays? I've seen a lot of people, it seems like they started in plays, because they say, a lot of people don't know that, but LA has so many playhouses.
I didn't know that, yeah.
A lot of people don't know that.
Okay.
And for a while, I did a little script thing. I don't know if I ever told you that. It was a script writing circle I was in downtown.
That's cool. Yeah, that's real cool.
And one of the guys, I can't think of his name, but one of the men who runs, he's a well-known actor. I'll just look him up. I can find him on here. Mm-hmm. And he told us all that. He said everybody's trying to get into commercials, get into movies. The best route is to do plays. You got an easier way of you build, you're doing a reputable truth. Yep. And then you just build your credits. And then that will eventually lead, because he was in everything. I mean, Hill Street Blues, all kind of movies. I remember when I was a kid seeing
people do the play route. I've seen it. I've seen a couple people get. I think. The best dude is Hamilton. If the best example for that, Hamilton. I mean, you can't beat him.
You sure can't.
So to support what you just said, to give it, to advocate for the position you just took, Hamilton proves that.
And that's true. He took. And I guess a beloved figure from American history, and then put a spin on it with hip hop, and of course using, I guess, contemporary vernacular, that appeal to the masses. So is it putting a spin on something old or something that's done? Because they say everything is a cliche of something else.
Well, he found an original idea to do it, but let's flip it again, mm-hmm. Okay? Hamilton, they say, was black. They said Hamilton was black. They said he was half black. He was mulatto. So, how can you flip something that's culturally already there? Wow. So maybe he just made it more relevant for the people who are in the culture now. Because here's the thing people don't realize, man. There were a lot of black people in America at that time. Just because you don't see in the history movies and everything like that. No, remember that England had slavery at one point. Yes. That means they brought some of those slaves to England.
Yes.
Okay. So when they freed the slaves, where do you think they sent them?
Well,
because the new
we know from the West Indies, of course, it went to the with the colonists, the British colonizing the West Indies, of course, boarding school people went sent their kids, but back then, of course, not people of color. They were going to England to be like domestic workers.
Most people back in Jamaica, in England right now, are Jamaicans.
Yes.
But there were actually slaves in England. They were actually they took them more than like everybody else. They took them to the country and made them work. So during the time when they were kicking all the people out of England, the undesirables and everything, the religious nuts and the poor and everything, the Irish, everybody's coming to America. So when people came over here, you had black people and white people living together as free. Remember, they made black people slaves in New England. Everybody was free at first, and all of a sudden they just said, "Hey, guess what? If you're black, today you're a slave." That was around the country. That was just in the South.
Me, don't get caught below the Mason-Dixon line, even if you had papers.
No, but they had slavery in the North. I remember reading stuff about people in Connecticut owning slaves.
Wow.
Yeah, New York.
The Mason-Dixon line.
No, before there was slavery in the United States, there were all slaves.
Well, remember that was what Lincoln. Well, there was no expansion to the West. Remember, he didn't want to
compromise. Yeah,
he didn't want to come in out west.
But look it up real quick to make sure I'm right about slavery, modern day slavery.
Oh, I'm sure, like you said, indentured servants or people who
New Jersey, they were slaves.
I'm sure people probably were smuggled up north.
Yeah.
Okay, just imagine people who lived down south. Of course, they brought their slaves with them. Very good point.
But like Virginia, that's right next to the East Coast, and they had slaves. It's a heavy slave state.
Why am I not seeing the date for Great Britain?
And remember, the Irish were slaves.
I'm positive it was 16-something when slavery ended in Britain. I'm not seeing.
So the crazy thing about slavery is about the English.
Pardon me.
England freed their slaves, and then England went out there and made sure nobody else could be slave owners. Because England was like the last country; they were the last major world power to have slaves.
Well, I remember Great Britain though ended their slavery, way earlier. Why am I not seeing that date? Give me 1 minute.
But you understand, it was like the Portuguese that got it from the Arabs, and then the Spanish, and then England came in last. I think you had some Dutch and everything like that came in there. But then England stopped slavery. They went around and started patrolling the waters, and they started stopping slavery. Because people say it's because this humanitarian bone that formed in the English Empire, but I don't believe that. I believe they saw that the benefits of slavery and free labor.
So I remember there was a historic case. Remember they made that movie out of it.
Amistad?
No, not Amistad.
Amistad was about insurance. That was a Geico. Amistad was a Geico commercial. That's all Amistad was about insurance. Amistad was about they wanted their land, they wanted their money because the slaves revolted. So they went in the court to get their money. That's all that was. Because all the slaves had insurance on them. You didn't just buy slaves and put them on a boat. You had to insure them. You insure your cargo, you insure the boat, you insure everything. So they had insurance back then. So that's what Amistad was about. It was about insurance. It's crazy, but that's why they want to stop slavery in America. Because they saw the benefits from slavery in America. They saw the free labor force would push them to a first world country. And that's why
Southern plantation owners, they were not about to change that cushy way of life.
But here's the thing. How one hand washes the other. Why that would happen, the East Coast would still buy the cotton for the textile mills.
Well, here's a little bit additional information. It says merchants began to demand an end to the monopolies on the British market held by the Caribbean colonies and pushed instead for free trade. The persistent struggles of enslaved Africans and the growing fear of slave uprisings among plantation owners were another major factor. So they had the uprisings and stuff going on. Of course, that we really didn't hear about except probably in Haiti.
Jamaica. That's why they brought the Chinese and the Indians in.
Yeah, and they said it became illegal to purchase enslaved people directly from Africa under the Abolition Act in 1806.